Oh shit! Hey guys, it's Jake from Team Insanity. I am doing the Bob Long G6R review today. This is the 2011 version. This is Jacob's gun. I've used it, probably more than him, I don't know. But I've used it. And I'm going to tell you my thoughts on it, give it a little bit of review. Now this review is going to be a little bit different than all of our other reviews because the reason why we're not going to do an efficiency test on it is probably because it's going to cost $3,000 to do an efficiency test on it. Because it's very, very efficient. Take my word for it. Take Bob Long's word for it. Go watch his efficiency test video on it. You can basically get a case of paint out of a full 6845 if you have it tuned right and if you have enough paint through it, basically. So that's what I suggest. Go watch his video. I think even Mike from TechBB, if I remember right, even did an efficiency test on it. I don't know. But there's a lot of efficiency tests out there at Bob Long G6R, so just go check that out. And really, efficiency on these guns kind of vary between the pressures that you have too and what kind of reg you have, if you have an SLP, if you have a normal reg, you know, just the different types of pressures you're running through your LPR and your high pressure and all that stuff. So I mean it sort of varies, but yeah, no matter what, I just know that we know this is one of the most efficient gun that Jacob has. It's the most efficient gun on Team Insanity. So we weren't about to waste all that money to shoot 20 pods through a gun that you already know can shoot 20 pods. I mean, I don't know if it can. I mean, it can probably shoot that. So, the first things about the Bob Long G6R, I love Bob Long guns in general, just for that reason. They're very, very efficient. And the other thing is that this gun will run at a really, really low operating pressure. So what that does is that it gives you a little bit smoother of a shot than a normal poppet, like an Ego 11 or those kind of poppets, because it's not like a traditional style poppet where it runs on a little bit higher of a pressure. It runs on a lot lower of a pressure. It's a lot lower pressure of a gun to actually get it operating. And with that being said, it will also be way, way more efficient than your normal other like Egos and that kind of stuff, even though you can make it shoot like that. Now if you want to get the max performance, definitely get an SLP reg. If you don't have an SLP reg, a lot of people basically say don't use this gun without an SLP reg. I've seen people do it. You can tune it to where it doesn't run on an SLP reg. Is it the best for it? I don't really know. Bob Long definitely recommends that you use an SLP reg. So if you're buying one of these guns, definitely just prepare to buy an SLP. I mean, it's probably the best for the gun. It's best for you. I mean, it's just, you're going to get the best performance if you do what's recommended. And you're going to get the best performance out of an SLP. There's no reason on running a G6 and owning a G6R and not trying to get max efficiency or that very nice fine shot quality that G6Rs have. So if you're running a normal tank or a normal reg, you're not going to get all that amazing of quality of a shot as well as you should be with an SLP. And also, with that being said, you can tune Bob Long guns, especially the G6R. The G6R is one of my favorite and a lot of other people's favorites. You can tune these to how you would like. You can make this gun shoot many, many different ways. You can mess with dwell, you can mess with the pressures in many different ways. There's ways Bob Long recommends, and then there's ways that other people on PB Nation and McCarter Brown and all those people recommend. There's a lot of different ways that you can run this gun. You can run it, you don't have to run it with an SLP reg, for example. You don't have to. It's highly recommended. I highly recommend it. Like I said, I've seen people do it, but still. But there's a lot of different things that you can do to this gun. So if you're one of those people that loves to take the gun out, tinker it, and do your own thing to it, and just really mess around with it, then this gun is definitely for you. The G6R series is definitely one of the guns for you because you can do so much to this thing and you can make sure that you get your own shot performance that you want out of this gun. The other thing is the LPR, great LPR, and there's also a lot of different upgrades for this gun. You can have a low pressure poppet. Jabe has that in here. You can have there's 1,000,002 bolts out there. I'm pretty sure this is just a stock bolt. But I mean, there's a pillow bolt, there's a soft touch bolt, I don't know. There's millions of different bolts out there. So that being said, you can get those bolts. You can buy different bolts. Even, I mean, Bob Long makes most of the bolts. There's some bolts out there. But you can get the bolts and you can still make it your own gun. You can buy different bolts and tune it different ways. That's very, very special. And the other thing is that they are very highly recommended that you get extra bolts for this gun, because then you can run it in different weather conditions. Bolts are, I don't know, they're made for different things. We don't have all those different upgrades, and you can tune it to those styles of bolts. So that's really, really cool. So yeah, that's something to think about. There's a lot of different upgrades that you can do this gun. That means a lot to people, that you can take this and put a different low pressure poppet in it and different bolts and I don't know, different all kinds of things. There's different internals that you can swap out on this gun. That's really, really cool. I mean, I know that you can put like 4C eyes in it and laser eyes, which I mean you can do to a lot of guns, but you can do to, you know, basically any gun, put laser eyes in it, but there's, you know, that's there for your option. You can put a lot of different things in it, which is really, really cool, which is another reason why a lot of people buy it, because they like tinkering with their gear and they love changing their settings around, they love changing their bolts, they love doing all that stuff and playing around with that kind of stuff. If that's what you like to do and you like to tinker and try to get max performances out of your guns, then this gun, like I already said, you will definitely have fun with this gun. The other thing is, I've used this gun in the Snake, but if you go back and watch all the videos where I really use this, I was running up to the 50 90% of the time, or I was running up to those really big tall stand-up bunkers. I wasn't really going into Snake off the break, even though I felt comfortable with going to Snake with this off the break, but I felt way more comfortable. This gun is so stretched, and it is one of the most sleek guns I have ever seen and ever held in my entire life. Bob Long has amazing milling. I mean, he cut that part out of the whole entire body to make it lighter and more sleek, and he really milled this gun down a shit ton. So it's really light, very, very sleek, and I like how it's stretched out. And when I hold this gun, the Vanquish was actually longer than this, but it just has amazing ergonomics for right off the break. You can really whip this thing up and run and gun very, very comfortably. That's how I feel. I never really felt like running the Snake off the break because I had such amazing control of my lanes off the break. I could run to the 50 as I'm running and holding such a straight, solid lane with this. I mean, it was amazing. I could sit here and snap one-handed very, very well. I had such good control of it. Just having all of this, it just felt so amazing in the hands, and it's so small and so sleek. I liked how I could run off the break to the 50, or I could run out to the side corner. That's why when Jacob plays speedball, 9 times out of 10, he's using this gun, he's going to back corners, and he's holding down lanes off the break. That's what I was doing. That's why I didn't really run to Snake that much off the break. I did, but when I was running around, I could whip this gun every which direction. There was a game where I ran down the field and bunkered like 3 people and finished out the game. I was at the 50 and I just ran, shot this guy, shot this guy, shot. I mean, it was so comfortable moving around, and it just felt so amazing in my hands. The thing that I would recommend though is I don't know what they're just those little Exalt regulator grips. I would definitely recommend that for this gun, especially on the regulator. The reason why is that it's a polished finished. It's just the straight aluminum anodizing. And if I would rub up against a bunker or a paint would get on that, your hand is like sliding all around if you don't have gloves on. I don't really wear gloves. I mean, I have half gloves, but I mean, they're not like actual like grippy gloves. I have them, but I don't really wear them considering that my jersey has them. But they're not like gloves with grips on them. And then when I go and slide the first time, they get all paint filled in it. I mean, it's not really like, half gloves aren't for grip or that kind of thing. I mean, the ones at least that I have on the Raza jerseys aren't. So anyways, you can really put an Exalt grip on this. When I was snapping and I was rubbing up against bunkers, or when I would lean up against a bunker like this and head check out, and I'd rub the gun down the bunker and I'd go and snap out, I'd really feel that paint that I rubbed up against the bunker. I'd feel that. My hand was a little bit slippery. I definitely suggest that you get an Exalt grip for it. That was just me. You might feel a little bit different on it. But when I was wiping up against bunkers and that kind of stuff, when I was doing this and I was wiping the gun on a bunker, when I was snap shooting, that kind of thing, I would definitely feel like this got a lot more slippery and I didn't have as good as a grip on it. So I would suggest that you get an Exalt one of those Exalt grips. You can find them at probably your local store. Honestly, they're very, very abundant. They're all over the place. But also for maintenance, I wouldn't really mess around with it. There's a guy at our field. Well, his name is Aaron. He's a pretty cool guy. He has a flamed G6R. He was telling me not too long ago that he literally did not rebuild his whole entire G6R. He did not change one O-ring for 4 years. For 4 years, not one O-ring. And it worked perfectly fine. So this is not really a gun that you're going to want to take apart and just take an O-ring and change it kind of thing. That's not what you want to do with this. This is not that kind of gun where you maintenance it after every single day of play, after every case. It's not like a DM. It's not like a GO. It's not like those kind of spool valve guns. This is definitely sort of more like an Ego, where if you don't touch it and if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the kind of thing. What you could do is just sort of spray some Tri-Flow on the bolt a little bit. Spray a little bit of Tri-Flow on there, and that's about it. Also, the lube that you want to use on any Bob long gun basically is Dow 55. Use Dow 55 because it swells the O-rings very, very nice. So invest in some Dow 55 for when you're maintaining like your LPR or your rammer or anything like that. So, but normally you're not going to have to do much work to this. You're not going to take this apart every case, and Jacob's about to get rid of this gun. That's why I'm doing the review on it. But he's about to get rid of the gun, and I'm not about to take it apart and do a maintenance video because I don't want to accidentally break it, even though I know I won't. But I'm just staying on the cautious side. But yeah, definitely I would say there's not much that you have to do to this gun, to be honest with you. You don't have to take it apart. You don't have to maintenance it all the time. Just keep it the way it is. Keep your pressure where it's at. Keep your dwell where it's at, unless if you're playing around with it, then sure, go ahead and maintenance it. The other thing is that it has a really bright LED. Unfortunately, right before I started filming this, the battery died, and this is this is one of the brightest LEDs I've ever seen. Almost if you guys have had like a Dye DM or an NT or let me think of more like, you can't really say the Egos because they just have a screen. But basically Dye guns, I'm having a brain fart on LED guns, but like the Dye guns basically is if you take off the grips and then you turn on the gun, or the Reflex series, and you see the LED, it like blinds you for a second. Or if you have ever taken your Virtue Spire out of the shell and you press the button and it's that big bright LED, or if you've ever even done it to the Dye rotor and you take out your whole entire internals, I'm talking about that, like that, just the box with the gears and everything, and you turn it on, that LED is blinding. That's what this is when you just turn it on. If you guys can see in the videos, you can literally see this light reflecting off of bunkers at the dark indoor. So if you play out in the sun, Arizona sun, or basically anywhere with sun, a bright place, you won't have a problem at all. I know some people have problems with seeing very dim LEDs. I know some people have eye problems. Hopefully your eye didn't get shot from paintball. And also people have problems with like OLED boards, like some of the very, very first original OLED boards, the Dangerous Power OLED boards, that kind of stuff. You don't have that problem with this LED light. It would probably blind you, to be honest. It is very, very bright. You look at it and you're like, ah, fuck, you can catch a suntan off of it, to be honest with you. That's how bright it is. So definitely, that's perfectly fine. Your board should be flashed by Tadao. Normally people always flash their boards by Tadao. If it's not, if it's flashed by, I know some people, I'm pretty sure Virtue is doing some flashing for this. I recommend Tadao flashing. I don't know how they come from the factory. I think they come flashed from Tadao, but I know one guy in particular that had his board. I don't know if it was just random or if he didn't know what he was talking about, but I heard that he had his board done by Virtue or something. I don't know, but Tadao is a really good company to get the board flashed by if they're still doing it. Clamping feed neck works great. People don't really want me to talk about the specs of the gun in the reviews recently, but I mean, I don't know, I'm going to talk about it anyways, just for the clamping feed neck. It's a nice little clamping feed neck. ASA is nice. This is the 2011 version, like I said, so it has just a little rolled thingy, mabobber, I don't know. and the normal ones, the newer ones, has the twist ones. No matter what, it's a good regulator. I mean, I guess I can see, I mean, if I'm being very, very critical and picky, I guess I could say, oh my gosh, when my hands get oily, my hands slip on this. I mean, whatever. But I'm not being that critical. The barrel that you get with it, great barrel. This Bob Long Assassin barrel. Definitely not a die-ultralight barrel. It's definitely not a boomstick, but I mean, it's a decent stock barrel. It's not like a Shaft 4 690 kind of barrel. It's nothing like that. It's a good barrel. But yeah, like I said, I felt like I had a lot of control off of this, and I'd really recommend this to mid players / back players because of the control that you have of shooting this gun off the break, and the fact that you can literally shoot as many pods as your pod pack can carry and still be able to go out, refill all those pods without refilling your air and go shoot it all over again. That's a big selling point for mid and back players. Or if you're a guy that plays a lot of scenario games, you guys know what I'm talking about, those Living Legends events, or your local big games where you're out there for an hour and a half at a time and all you do is just shoot paint for a living and you do nothing but just shoot bags and bags and bags and cases beyond cases. This gun will hold up really, really well. You'll be able to shoot that massive amount of paint without having to walk off the field. Believe me, it's a buzzkill because I shoot a DM. I love spools, but it definitely kind of sucks when all of a sudden I look, I'm like, oh hey look, I shot 8 pods, gotta get ready to go refill my air, and then there's Jacob using this peanut tank and he's already shot 10 pods. He's like, air? What's air? But yeah, but like I said, this gun, it feels really nice with the peanut tank on it. I'm a smaller guy, so it kind of equals out having this small tank with this big stretch grip. It feels nice, but really you can tune this gun how you want it. You can really do anything that you want to these Bob Long G6Rs. That's why I highly recommend them to people. You can buy these used for maybe like $400 with some upgrades. So I would definitely, this version, you can buy them for used for right now. I've seen some going for $350 on like decent sales. So I would definitely look at this if that's how you want to play. If you really like to fine tune your gear and you really like to tinker with your pressures and tinker with your dwell and all that stuff, this is definitely that type of gun for you. There's many upgrades for it. It looks freaking beautiful. The looks of it is amazing. I love the milling. I love how sleek and the profile of it. I just love the stretch. It's a great gun. So overall, it's a great buy. If you guys are ever wondering how we felt about the G6R, that's how I feel. Jacob basically feels the same. Even though Jacob doesn't like to tinker with his pressures, I mean, you can still use this gun without tinkering with pressures and that kind of stuff. I mean, you can still go and buy this. You can still get a G6R and just leave it stock and never do anything to it. I know people that do that, but generally when I see people that own G6Rs, they've always got their pressure testers on it and they're always sitting there like, oh man, I can lower you 5 more PSI and get like an extra half a pod off of you. I see people doing that all the time. And I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. Bob Long guns are the guns for you, definitely. Even though, me personally, I'd probably keep it stock until I really knew what I was doing with it and I'd mess around maybe a little bit with it. But if that's your thing, definitely go ahead, pick this up. Back player, mid player gun, even a front player can use it. I was playing front with it. I mean, I was in the snake with it a few times. I've done a lot of front play with it. But I definitely feel off the break I can really whip this thing up, and I can definitely, there's just such a good grasp on this gun. There's such a very, very good handle on it. Once you put an Exalt grip reg, or Exalt reg grip or whatever you want to call it on here, freaking amazing setup, beast setup. You can whip this and do all kinds of different things to it. So that's the Bob Long review, short, sweet, and simple. It's not 5 hours long. Put TriFlow on the bolt. That's all you really need to do to it for maintenance. And I already said we won't be doing the efficiency test because I don't feel like wasting $5,000 on shooting all that paint. So if you have any other questions, comment below. It's just a pretty basic, easy review. People are wondering about it, so that's it. For all you people that are wondering, that's how I feel. Jacob feels the same. So hope this helps you out. Definitely go pick one up if you're interested. Great little pop-it gun. Shoots lots of paint. Yeah, I mean, follow us on the forum. Go check that out on our website. We have a forum thingy. Go sign up. We do some cool things. But yeah, other than that, Thanks guys, stay tuned for more reviews.